Hey everyone, and welcome to Baka-Talk, the only podcast in known existence. I am Sir-Boom, your host, and I am joined by, well, the only employee I could get in the house today.
I am the best employee. I'm the only one that showed up.
You are employee of the month.
Yay, by default.
By default. It's kind of like in Hunger Games, where there's only two of them left.
Yeah.
So there had to be two winners instead of just one.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a bad analogy. What's another one?
It's just like that. It's like if only one person showed up to the Hunger Games.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, you win.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. Well, we can't have you kill yourself. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we could. I might have you fight yourself one day just to
Okay.
make sure you're best employee. So
That would be a great Hunger Game. Hunger Games book 15 is just one guy shows up to the Hunger Games and just
Just
fights
one guy.
himself.
it's the only guy left in America after the revolution. It's just like, hey guys, I'm here for the Hunger
I'm
Games.
doing the Hunger Games. He's got like split personality disorder or something. He's just like hiding in a tree. They're coming for me. And then
There's just like 15 personalities wrapped in it,
Yeah.
right? So like when he's sleeping, the other personalities are trying to kill him.
That'd be kind of a crazy story if it was like the Hunger Games and then at the end you find out it's just one person in a room.
That seems like one of those horror stories you'd read on the internet.
Yeah. But it's always endings like that. They're like interesting twists, but they're always just kind of letdowns where it's like, oh, none of this mattered. Why did
Yeah.
I waste my time?
It's kind of like how those stories end, where it's like you wake up from a dream.
Yeah.
You're like, I learned a valuable lesson, but
Yeah.
none of it mattered.
Yeah.
You know that impactful death scene that we had for 2 pages of the book?
Yeah.
Oh, screw you! You cried for
Doesn't
nothing.
matter. Yeah.
All right. Well, Weez, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah,
It's been a day.
it's been a day.
Yeah.
You had to get your dog.
Yeah, my dog keeps getting out of the fence. He's big and just can bust through anything that he wants to.
So I was thinking after you told me that you need to get sheet metal and just build a dome around
Yeah,
his poop.
pretty much.
Not even just a dome, just a solid ball. It goes through the ground, connects underground.
Yeah, we even had a place because we have a fence for him, but we tied him up because he kept getting out of the fence and he eventually broke the thing he was tied to. So, yeah.
Benny's a big dog.
He is a big dog.
It's like, what do you do when he wants to go somewhere? It's not like
I
you can
know.
really stop.
Like basically anywhere on the fence, he can just dig enough and then just push himself through.
I bet he could probably even jump over. Oh, I don't know. He's kind of old now.
Yeah, I don't know if he could jump over. I think the other dog, Lucy, could
Yeah.
because she's more athletic if she really wanted to.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been pushing through the door. So
Yeah, that sucks.
yeah,
Well, maybe he's lonely and he wants to visit you.
I guess
Or he knows that you're lonely inside the house.
if
and
he
needs
didn't
company.
chase after cars and stuff sometimes, he would be totally fine. He'd just hang out on the deck. But
Right.
if Lucy's out and him, they'll just go for miles. They'll just run
yeah.
through the fields and yeah.
There's been a couple times I've come over to your house and he's just been laying
Yeah.
right on the walkway. And he's so big, it's just like,
Yeah.
I can't get through, bud. You just
He's
have to
so
move.
lazy too. You like step over him and he just looks at you.
Yeah.
Like, why do you go through all the work of breaking out just to lie there and do nothing?
He doesn't like laying in that spot.
Yeah.
So he wants to lay in a different spot.
Yeah.
Well, besides for that, what you been up to? I know you released a video
I did release a video.
and it's got me and Pyro, or
It's
Right?
got you, Pyrolus, and Maya in it
nice.
in a few scenes, and it turned out really well.
Did it?
It's the second of one that I did already. It's like the sequel to it. And adding the voice acting, I think, made it a lot better. And it's like my best video ever right now by like 900 views.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
So this isn't like a full abridged or anything. It's just
No.
like you're basically taking the prospect of Goblin Slayer and turning it into like an RPG game.
Yeah. So it's a
It's like a comedy skit.
kinda, yeah. It's a recap video
Oh,
because it talks about everything that happens in the show.
okay.
But it explains it as if it was a D&D game with a bunch of people coming over.
Gotcha.
And what I did in the script is I just came up with a bunch of names for the people that would be playing the characters.
Yeah.
And like the first thing that made me have this idea was the original party that dies immediately is like the original group shows up for that. And the guy that's playing Goblin Slayer couldn't show up for the game. So they just go on this random little like side quest thing. And they all just get brutally murdered by the goblins, except for the priestess. And they end the game there. And then they're like, well, I guess we'll make new characters.
Yeah.
And then this guy is like, his girlfriend is the priestess. And she's like, I really like my character. So he's like, I'll make a really specific character that hates goblins so I can save her so she can continue being alive. So he makes his character so that he has an excuse to show up in the dungeon. And then they like kill the rest of the goblins. All the other players are like, we made awful characters. Let's just remake new ones. And then it continues from there.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
That's a cool idea. I like that aspect of it.
So it still explains all the stuff that happens in the story, but just explains it as like this character wanted to do this, and this is why these things showed up. Or like the GM just wanted this thing to happen in that way. Like when Goblin Slayer orders Flower to kill the thing, it's like the GM wanted his like reoccurring side characters to show up. So it's like you ordered it from the town and they bring it to you and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. And then a lot of it of like how Goblin Slayer defeats the enemies isn't what the GM intended, and he's just like messing with the roles and stuff and just kind of like annoys the GM all the time. So yeah, it's a fun video, and adding the voice acting and stuff turned it out pretty good.
Nice. It sounds like a couple RPG games I've played in the past.
Yeah. Because watching it felt like it. It's like, man, this just feels like there's the random episode where a beholder shows up.
Right.
And it's like the GM just got like sick of having them fight goblins all the time. So it's like, you have to get into this room and there's a beholder guarding it. There you go.
Yeah. Which I personally have done before. Not the beholder per se. But just like, I don't want like another zombie or something.
Yeah.
So just like, oh, there's a werewolf.
Yeah.
Deal with that. Have fun.
And then it's like the one player that only wants to kill goblins. So it's like, you have to fight goblins. Except there's like a portal that the goblins are coming from in this room. You got to kill the beholder to get there. And then like, fine, I'll kill it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I hope it goes well for you, the video analytics and stuff.
Yeah, so far it has. So far it's done really well.
Oh, really?
Like 10 times better than my last best video.
Okay,
so
sweet.
Yeah.
What was your last best video?
I think it was Ruby Abridged because it did really well at first.
Okay.
I can check, or maybe it was the Ruby. It wasn't Ruby Abridged. It was the Ruby review, the like stupid little short review.
Oh,
it had 171 views in the first day and 3 hours.
Yeah. And
this video has 1.4 thousand views.
Whoa.
In that time. So yeah, it's doing like really well.
Man, it's cool seeing your channel. Like, I see if it sounds like I picture it as like a sports car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when they're doing the drag race,
and
they start up their engine and stuff, and they're revving it, and you see the wheels spin a little bit, and then they go to race, and their wheels like spin for like a solid like 10 seconds. Kind of what it seems like your channel's doing.
Yeah,
because when you first started out, of course, you got like no views.
Yeah.
And then I'm seeing like 50, 80 views. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then all of a sudden you're like boosting up to like 1,000 views in the first couple hours. I'm like, oh, dang, he's like taking off now.
Yeah, it is weird because like I'm getting pretty consistently like 1,000 views at least on my videos. It usually takes a few days, but like I'll get 1,000 views. And I look at these other channels, they have like 50,000 subscribers. Look at their channel and they're like 800 views, whatever. It's like, or even if they have like 10,000 or something, it's like I have 500 subscribers. How am I getting, this like many views or this few views? Like
the way you do your content is very reminiscent, not even reminiscent, because they're still on YouTube. It's like those, Gigguk, how we used to do videos. It's very much like that. Yeah. Like old style Gigguk.
Gigguk still kind of does videos like...
Kind of.
Like some of he'll usually, at least the analytical videos I do, he'll do videos like that still sometimes. He'll just be like, this random show I like, so I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But yeah.
But it's even more like what's one that's big? I'm trying to think of one.
Kind of like
can't think
Mother's
of one.
Basement.
Yeah, Mother's Basement's
Style.
another anime one.
I don't like Mother's Basement very much.
Glass Reflection.
Yeah, Glass
That one's
Reflection's like a big one.
Yeah. You don't like Mother's Basement?
Not really. Like I like the idea behind his content, and some of it's pretty cool. I feel like his voice annoys me. Also,
yeah,
like I like some of his like analysis of openings and stuff. That stuff's kind of cool.
Yeah.
A lot of his videos are just weird rants complaining about stuff that like I couldn't care less about. Or like what his latest video was people were like hating on the CGI in Chainsaw Man. And he was like, this show looks amazing. What are you talking about? It's like it does kind of look a little janky sometimes. Like no matter how good the CGI is, it's gonna look a little bit weird. Yep. And people definitely complain about it more than they should because it's actually pretty good, like CGI.
Oh yeah.
But it's just the weird videos of just like complaining about people complaining about CGI. I don't know.
Well, unfortunately, that's what gets the views.
That is what gets views.
I do agree with you though. I think one of the main. I haven't watched too much of Mother's Basement because I honestly don't like. It's not like I don't like him. I just don't find his videos too interesting.
Yeah.
But I know one I really watched all the way through is one of his old ones, but his analysis of Hellsing, and it was just kind of. It was a rough to watch because it felt very. Of course, it was one of his older ones.
Yeah,
but it felt very complainy-ish.
Yeah,
like he seems to go for that style.
It's like that, and Cinema Sins is kind of like that.
Yeah,
it feels very like nitpicky about like stupid little things that it's like.
Well, Cinema Sins is supposed to be.
Yeah, and they're definitely have a little more leeway because they're supposed to be like complaining and picky about stuff, which. Some people take it too seriously too, and they're like, "Yeah, this show sucks because this little tiny thing." It's like, no, it sucks because of a lot of other things,
right?
But yeah, his like, I don't know, the best. Some of his best videos are like reviewing the Full Metal Alchemist movies or whatever because they are that bad, where he just picks everything apart because they really suck.
I watched one of the Full Metal Alchemist movies a long time ago.
Oh yeah,
it was the star of Milas.
They're either.
It was weird.
I don't know if it's the same thing, but they've made like a trilogy, or they're making a trilogy.
Are you talking the live action one? Yeah. I didn't watch the live action ones. They actually made offshoot animated ones.
Yeah, those ones are probably because isn't there one for the ending of the original? Show because it ends with like they go into real life or whatever.
Well, no, the one there's two of them that I know of. I didn't get to watch the second one, so it could have been about that. But the one I watched was like a weird side quest. And I don't even think it was canon.
Yeah, probably not.
It was like they had to find this weird alchemist artifact, and when they did, the whole problem was solved. There's a big villain and stuff that wasn't like the main villain.
Yeah.
But the whole problem was solved by the end, and it went back to normal happy stuff. So
yeah.
It's like probably something that never should have been made, but it was.
Yeah, it feels like some stories you could put in like a story offshoot like during the time or whatever, and it'll kind of fit. Other stories are like Full Metal Alchemist is such a compact like setup story with everything that happens matters, so there's like no place for just random, like they're always going everywhere and like learning new things, and like I don't know, it just feels weird to put in a random story in that universe.
Yeah, weird offshoots of animes are weird because they can't really have character development because it's not going to be canon. And this is also going to be weird if a character like totally changes their personality when it gets back to the show, because most of the time people don't watch the anime movie itself. And then at the same time, you can't have like any major deaths or anything like that. You can't have life-altering effects because nobody's gonna watch it, and you know that like people usually only watch the show
Yeah.
and don't even know about the movies. So unless like, you're a diehard fan,
Yeah. It's kind of weird because movies like for a general audience, but then most of the movies are like for diehard fans in a way.
Yeah.
Like it's so, I don't know. It's like weird audience thing that you're going for. I feel like they just want to make a movie to make a movie.
It's all about money.
Yeah.
Obviously, like unless it's like part of the actual canon, like maybe Star Wars is one of the best examples of this, is like all the movies have a reason for being.
Yeah.
Aside from maybe with a solo movie.
It's a story still.
I mean, they even titled it differently. It was a Star Wars story. So,
but you needed to find the origin of those random dice that was in like one deleted scene or something.
Oh yeah.
It was
Wasn't
like
there also the guy that got his arm cut off in episode 4? Didn't it also show the origins of them as well?
Oh, it did, yeah.
Yeah.
Or that was in Rogue One, I think.
That was in Rogue One.
That was in Rogue One.
Okay.
It had a few random things that happened. It was kind of funny. There's that droid that's like fighting for droid rights and freedom and stuff.
Yeah.
And her ending story is that she gets trapped inside the Millennium Falcon's computer.
Yep.
That was kind of funny.
Which is, I don't like how they changed that.
Yeah, I guess they just added her like, not like her subconscious, but just her like data or whatever of the things, and that's how they made the Kessel Run or whatever. I don't know. It was like they were hitting points. They're like, we need to find where he gets his jacket. We need to find like him do the Kessel Run. We gotta, yeah.
Well, in the original, I read the legend story of the actual Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
There's a whole book just about the Millennium Falcon.
Dang.
And it's cool because the reason why the computers are so weird in the original canon is because it's 3 separate brains.
Oh, dang.
The computer brains. And they are always arguing with each other.
Oh.
Which is why things always go wrong.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Until Ray like finds the switch that
pulls out the plug to a random thing. He
I
probably
fixed it.
Yeah, just killed 2 of the brains. I saw these 3 doing rock paper scissors in the back, so I shot 2 of them, and now there's only one winner.
Yeah. One thing I feel like Star Wars and a lot of Western storytelling is missing is just the absurd, over the top stuff.
Yeah.
There's this guy who does these comedy parody like songs, mostly comedy, just his own original songs.
Yep.
And Mick Snazzy Pants is sending them, and one of them is the story that he tells in the song is that he's sick one day, and so he watched all the Jurassic Park movies and analyzed them.
Okay.
And it starts out with just like it starts out with just the really simple, like, we went to Dinosaur Island and then we almost died. Let's not go back to Dinosaur Island. Next movie, let's go back to Dinosaur Island. And so it starts like that. And then he goes over like Jurassic Worlds, and then he goes into Jurassic Jurassic Park 7, and it was like, we're sending the dinosaurs to space. Let's not go to Dinosaur Planet. And then the next like movie, it's like, we're going to Dinosaur Planet. And then it was like dinosaur like robot hybrids and like all this insane stuff. It's like, we need more movies like that. If you're gonna continue something, just make it go completely off the rails.
You know, that is funny. Like, even in Marvel, which has the total right to go extreme like that, they kind of do, but then they like back like way far. Like in Eternals, they have a freaking Eternal pulling himself out of the planet, and now that's never mentioned again.
Yep.
Just like, oh, the Earth is an Eternal, and we're not gonna mention that?
It's like, oh, we saved it. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
And then
just a giant hand sticking out of the ocean somewhere,
like,
supposedly.
Yeah, and it's still, there was nothing big about it. It was just kind of like, it's giving birth to this thing or whatever. We stopped it. Okay, cool. But like, yeah, it feels like they part of what made the Marvel Cinematic Universe work is that they took the craziness of the comics and kind of made it like realistic. Yeah. They kind of like set it in reality, but now it's to the point where you just can't set it in reality anymore. It's too far gone.
Yeah.
You had freaking alien weirdo from space use Infinity Stones to, take out half the population.
Well, yeah.
So now they're going like multiverse stuff, and it's still like they're too afraid to go anywhere with it.
Like, where's my... I don't know. Like, where's my story where Deadpool, like, kills the Avengers?
Yeah.
And then just, like, starts ruling the planet.
And I feel like there was so much, like, stakes in the beginning. Like, if you think about, like, Ultron and stuff, when around that era, I think was some of the best Marvel, like, era, it was like there's stakes and you're kind of, like, interested in what could happen because there's this one robot that's, like, taking over everything and is going to try to, destroy the planet, and he has kind of a stupid, like, way of wanting to kill everybody.
Yeah.
But besides that, it's like he's like a big threat, and that you're, like, interested in who could die and stuff in this fight. And now it's like there's 200 million superheroes, and they're all just kind of the same, and there's no stakes or worry about, like, anything.
Like, you notice in Endgame, they had hundreds, maybe even thousands of people fighting Thanos' army, and supposedly the only person to die was Tony
Stark. Like, and Captain America just said, "Screw this," and went back in time. It's like, that's the only thing that happened.
Like, none of the tribesmen died. Are the other tribes in Black Panther, right?
Yeah.
Okay. None of the tribes people died in the Black Panther, because you saw them coming in. You saw. Wait, what else was there? There was so many people. Who the heck was all in that scene?
There was freaking everybody.
But the only people I know that was like a standing army is the Black Panther group.
Yeah, and then there was just like Ant-Man and the other ants and Spider-Man and like Doctor Strange. Oh, I think Doctor Strange and like the Strange.
There's
army.
The wizard.
Yeah, wizard.
Yeah.
Army.
But then also, like, obviously not a lot of them died, because in Doctor Strange you just see them all hanging out again. I don't know, it's weird.
It does feel like there's just no stakes that anybody is in any danger. And I think part of that is they're too worried to kill off characters because they sell. Yeah. Like for kids and stuff. But I don't know. It's just they need to have it was like in Captain America 2 when you find out like S.H.I.E.L.D. is corrupt and is part of Hydra and whatever. You're like, oh man, this is like a big deal. That was like the whole organization is like taken down. And now it's just kind of like, we defeated this crazy freak who wanted to do something good, but did it in a bad way.
Well, and now it's like S.H.I.E.L.D.'s not even a big thing in Marvel anymore, where S.H.I.E.L.D. was a huge thing.
Yeah.
And now it's like
S.H.I.E.L.D. really tied a lot of it together and stuff.
Yeah.
With Nick Fury and everything, and now he's just kind of like chilling in space or something. I don't know.
What is he doing? I thought he died.
Yeah, it was like it just feels so messy and chaotic where like nobody's grouped up anymore. It's just kind of all over the place.
That's why I like anime stories a lot better than Western shows right now, because even the most complicated series, it's like if you take Fate or a certain scientific series, it's still a lot more cohesive than what's going on in Marvel or even Star Wars right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. It's a lot easier to understand that there's a set of characters, one of them dies, it's a big moment, and then you can go off of that. But in Marvel, it seems like there's so many retcons and stuff like that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, somebody made a joke about Black Panther since the actor died, that it's like they're just gonna bring him back in the next one. Like, they'll just recast him. He'll come back. Nobody ever dies in Marvel.
Yep, can't die.
So
why would he die? He's a superhero.
Yeah, superheroes don't die. Yeah, it does feel like I think they're doing too much of the just like, we're getting this director to do what they want with the story, but also constraining them that they can't go too far, but also like it's kind of in this weird middle ground where they're like, we're not going to force you to connect anything, but we're also not going to like let you do anything interesting.
Yeah.
So they kind of get in this awkward middle ground of making movies where nothing happens.
Yep. And that's what it feels like. That's what a lot of Western shows feel like right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I like watching a lot of shows like Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw Man's wild.
Chainsaw Man's great right now.
Yeah.
Besides for people complaining about stupid things that are happening in it.
What are people complaining about?
Well, there's CGI.
Yeah.
And also, let's see. People are complaining about, what's her name? Kobani? Kobani? The girl that just freaks
out. Yeah. She's pretty annoying.
They made her really annoying in the
anime. Yeah. The latest episode had some really good moments of like everyone's freaking out because they're trapped on this floor.
Yeah.
And then Chainsaw Denji is just like chilling in a bed and just falls asleep. And they're like, he's asleep.
Yep.
I love Denji. He's a great protagonist. He's probably the best character right now.
I would think he's the best character right now. Top Knot gets a lot more
better.
character development. I don't know if you'll see it in this season, but
yeah,
he gets some character development.
There's a great moment with him too. They show the backstory of him like smoking the first time.
Oh yeah.
He like doesn't want to smoke and she's like, you gotta try if you're gonna like be my partner all the time. He's like, fine, I'll just do it once, but never again. And then it just cuts back to them in their situation. He's like, hey, you got any more cigarettes? And she's like, just the one. And he's like, give it to me.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Yeah, it is a little bit of like, I don't know if slow is the word, but it's like steady. It's not like anything crazy is going on right away. It's not speed running anything, so that's good.
It gets a lot crazier real quick.
Yeah, I bet.
Like I think where the show's gonna end up is gonna be pretty wild in the anime itself. Try not to spoil it, but there's a lot of character. The last arc, I'm pretty sure they're gonna end it here, but the last arc has a lot of character development.
Okay.
To the point where almost one of them dies.
Nice.
Or does die. I'm not gonna spoil it.
We'll find out.
But yeah, it's like after the hotel scene, things start getting really wild because they start going into like just how powerful and how much influence the Gun Devil actually has.
Okay.
So it's cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Denji's a really good protagonist because he's so simple.
Yep.
And he doesn't want these big goals. And it's kind of like everyone around him, he's kind of like an anchor point for everyone else because he's so simple.
Yeah.
Where people are like freaking out and getting stressed out about stuff. And he's just like, I get a comfy bed. This is so nice. And like seeing that is so refreshing compared to normal. I feel like people might like it more if you're into anime because you see the like parallels of how he's totally opposite of most shonen protagonists, where they're all like, we have this big aspiration. I'm gonna become the king of whatever, and he's just like, I want comfy bed.
Well, it's like we're gonna talk about this a little bit after the break, but Eminence and Shadow,
yeah,
where the main character wants to be like the most powerful character,
yeah,
and then there's Denji, which is probably the most powerful in his universe because it's Chainsaw Man, but he's just like, I get 3 meals a day.
Yeah,
Makima talks to me every so often. I'm happy.
It's like, this is great. Like just his appreciation of little things is like, I don't know. It's a cool, refreshing like story. Similar to Mob Psycho, which I'm rewatching.
Mob Psycho.
Supposedly, transition.
Anime Network's nominated 3 perfect seasons.
So far, season 1 is perfect.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Season 2 is like really close to perfect.
Yeah.
I feel like you can dislike Mob Psycho because it's very weird and it has a very unique style. Yeah. But it's like there's nothing wrong with it. I can't be like this part I might not have found funny or whatever, but it's like it's not wrong. It's just different than what I'd prefer or whatever. And so it's really hard to watch it and be like, it's like, this is so good that it's so perfect. There's just, I don't know. It feels weird watching a show like this. It has such a unique style and it executes everything so well that it just doesn't feel like it can make any mistakes. And it's so fast paced. And I feel like that might be part of it, is that it's like, it still has moments and times with the characters, but you also feel like it doesn't have any time to breathe. It just like goes right through it. It's like, we're developing this character to this point and then we're going on straight to the next thing.
That's
so
cool.
It's got these like very choppy moments, but it just ties them together super quickly. And then like the episode I just watched was just in season 2, they did one job, and then they did another job, and then they did another job.
Okay.
And they were all just separate things, and they were all pretty like simple. He exercises this thing, or these people, these like dumb teenagers wanted to take like a spirit photo or whatever, and then they like ditch Reagan and Mob after they take the photo, because he's like, okay, about my pay, and they're like, you didn't do anything, and they just take off.
Oh, okay.
And then they come back the next day and they're like, there was actually a spirit in this photo, it's freaking us out, you need to go exercise, whatever it is. But like,
that's great.
Through these short moments, it's all developing Mob's like his like problem. And so Reagan is like noticing that he's having a problem and is like, I need to talk to him about this and whatever's wrong with him. And then he kind of figures out what his problem is throughout these 3 like random missions that aren't connected at all. And so it's really cool story progression, because there's 3 things that are happening that are completely separate, but it still ties in Mob's like mental state throughout them. And so each thing has something that's kind of like bothering him, and he makes like a weird comment about something. And so Reagan's like trying to figure out what his deal is. And so even when it's not perfectly tied together from like a story plot wise, it's still tying together in different ways.
Okay.
And so in that way, it's really fast because it's going through each one super fast. It's also connected to the main plot because of Mob's mental state, but also being just like random side adventures.
Yeah.
So it's got so much stuff going on at the same time. And I don't know, it's just such a good story.
That does sound like a really good way of doing a story.
Yeah.
Where you have so much random stuff going on that it keeps the audience's attention, but you're also progressing the story by just the character's interaction with what's going on.
Yeah. And it really is like a slice of life. It's like a slice of life story, but thrown into this shonen like battle scenario thing.
Right.
Because it's mostly just about Mob and his mental state, but all these other things are going on at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a crazy mix of things. And it's so well done because of how fast it is. It doesn't drag out any things too long. Like each episode, you feel like you watched a whole series because so much happens. But and it's just really funny too. There's just so many little gags and jokes throughout it that you can miss. And like this one thing, all these psychics come together to help this rich guy get his daughters possessed. And he's got all these psychics together to like save her. Yeah. And so they're all standing like around, and she's behind like this glass one-way mirror thing. And so they're looking at her, and everyone's like seeing if they can sense the spirit or whatever. And one guy's like, I sense it. It feels really close with the ghost thing that's always hanging with Mob. It's just lurking closer to him. Yeah. And it's just these really like small moments that are just jokes, because it's like he's saying that along with everyone else, but it's just the little ghost guy just like hanging out closer to him. Right. And then, there's just a lot of cool moments and cool things. And it's got the One Punch Man style where it's like the main character super overpowered. Yep. But he's also dealing with mental like problems and stuff. Yep. So that he's not perfect and he can actually lose in fights and stuff because of that.
Right. Yeah. It's almost like his One Punch Man isn't so much about this, but like in Mob Psycho, I watched, I guess for the audience, I watched most of the first season, I think. Yeah. It was like on episode 8 or something. Yeah. But like his inexperience because he has these abilities and they're super powerful, but like in all actuality, he doesn't have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
So his inexperience is almost his downfall.
Yeah.
Like in no way is he really ever in danger.
Yeah.
In the form of like somebody could actually beat him. But like him actually winning the fight is the problem.
Yeah.
To get through.
He also has the problem of he doesn't want to use his powers against people.
Yeah.
Because it's like scares him. And in this, like in the 3 episodes I was talking about, his problem was that he was like the spiritual world is just as real to him as the physical world.
Right.
So he's kind of having a problem of like differentiating, like, is it okay to exercise a spirit that might hurt somebody? Like, and are some spirits okay? Because one of them, he was going to exercise them, but they were just like a family that were like, we're just chilling here. We'll leave when like our like debts are paid because we all died tragically. So we just wanted time together or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So it was like he couldn't go through with exercising the spirit, but then there's like these people that are like attacking him, and it's like he doesn't feel like he can defend himself and stuff like that because he's really scared.
Right.
And it all ties in perfectly because he's a middle schooler. So you never feel like it's ridiculous and he just needs to man up or whatever, because like this is just a child. And then some of the latest things I've watched in season 2 is that he's scared of himself because he's so powerful, where he's realizing like, wait, I could just kill everyone on Earth. I could just become dictator. And like, he's worried that nobody is as powerful as he is.
Right.
So if he ever just like got really angry or snapped or whatever, who would be able to stop him? And so all these things that he has to deal with. And it's really interesting because so many stories set up interesting premises, but they have to pay off like the interesting things in them. Because a lot of shows just take like, oh, I go into a fantasy world and then nothing happens with any of the concepts. But this really is like, okay, this kid is born with just insurmountable power. Now he has to deal with it. And like, when you first think of it, it's like, that's awesome. You could just do whatever. And then you realize like, oh, you have to deal with that. You have the power over like life and death, and you could just kill everyone on the earth and have no one be able to stop you. And like,
well, and that's where
it terrifying that'd be.
Yeah, that's where it gets into like the One Punch Man scenario.
Yeah.
Where One Punch Man knows he's the most powerful.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure there's no point in the anime besides for in his dream where he thinks he might lose.
Yeah.
Like, even when he's going against Galaxy King, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Shion or something. He's like, what is it? The final fight, he has to do a serious punch.
Yeah.
That's how he defeats him.
And then he's just like really disappointed that that's all it took.
So like he knows he's the most powerful, but his mental state is like realizing and coming to terms with he's almost the god of that world.
Yeah.
And that his job or what he can find fulfillment through is like just being with people that like want to get as powerful as him.
And that's one of, especially in the first season of Mob Psycho, the like lesson is about like your psychic powers don't really matter.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that are like so, and it's like this in real life. It's kind of the point it's getting across is like the things that you're good at and blessed with don't make you a good person or like any special. Like everyone just has different talents and stuff. And so kind of the point of Mob Psycho, especially the first season, is just nobody's special. So you can do whatever you want. And Mob is kind of like going through that, and then everyone is always like, you're so blessed and spectacular because you have these crazy powers, and he's like, they don't do anything for me. I'm screwed because of these powers. Like,
well, he even resents them in a little bit because like that's the whole reason he joined the bodybuilder. He's like, I use my powers too much and I'm weak and scrawny. Like I need to build muscle and be like my own person. Yeah.
So the all those moments are super cool. And then it's so satisfying because there's these people that are just like, my powers make me the most powerful. And Mob's just like, you're not a good person. You're worthless. And just obliterates him.
Like that first Esper he fights where they destroy the school.
Yeah.
Like he just like, totally humiliates him without even trying.
Yeah.
Like that.
And he's like, and then Mob is sad because he broke and like ended up destroying the school
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
When the other character's just like, oh my goodness, I was such an idiot.
Right.
So yeah, it's such a satisfying, fun story. And then Reagan's such a perfect character because there's all these moments where they get into these fights and this guy's all like using his psychic powers, going around like crazy. And then Reagan just beats him down, just like punches him in the face or just like knees him in the stomach.
Right.
In one, the most recent one that I watched, the one girl that's like possessed, the person possessing her possesses this other guy that's like a really powerful, like one of the most powerful espers in this room, I guess.
Okay.
Besides for Mob, he's like
Right.
this old guy or whatever, and he's like flying around the room and doing all these crazy stuff, and Reagan just knees him and knocks him unconscious.
That's
and then
great.
it's like the ability Reagan uses to knock a possessed person unconscious so they can't be like possessed anymore or whatever.
Yeah, because I remember in the first season, isn't it where he like gets stopped by a bunch of people and he like pulls out like pocket sand?
Yeah.
And it's just like Reagan's special ability, pocket sand.
Yeah. And like a salt splash where he like throws salt at the ghost and it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, wait, this is just normal salt.
Yeah.
But it's great because he's such a real life normal person and
Yeah.
he's a con man and he always sees when things are like cons and whatever. So he's just
Right.
like looking at all these people. It's like you're really into this or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this is bull crap.
That's great.
Yeah.
Another show that appears to be like that, or in the same vein as that, is Eminence and Shadow.
Eminence and Shadow is pretty cool.
Yeah, which
Good
we just
first
watched the
episode.
first episode of. So that one's cool in the aspect of you see somebody that yearns for ultimate power.
Yeah.
The first episode was probably weird. Like, it's kind of weird to talk about the story just going by the first episode because
Yeah.
it shows like his life before he gets isekai'd.
Mm-hmm.
But like even in that, it's kind of cool where he has that whole speech at the end after the credits where he's just like, my dream like stuck with me even though everybody else's fell away, and like,
Yeah.
their heroes died inside of them as mine grew like,
Yeah.
stronger and burned
It is
brighter.
cool. He's just like a psychopath
Yeah.
that like as a kid is like, I want to be a hero, and then just grew up and was like, I'm gonna be a vigilante and beat down criminals and stuff.
That crowbar
Yeah.
monologue was great.
Yeah,
Where
it's
he's like
super
beating
cool.
up the ex-soldier and he's got two crowbars. He's like, yeah, these work great as tonfa sticks. And he's
Yeah.
like fighting like a martial artist. And then he's like, oh, now I gotta act serious. And he just starts beating the guy at the
Yeah.
crowbar like a regular crowbar. He's like, yeah, they work great as tonfa sticks. But you know what crowbars really work well as? Clubs.
Yeah. It was so cool. And then he's like explaining how like they're super useful because police won't question you as
Yeah.
much with them and stuff. Yeah, it was a great first episode. I kind of wish it stayed more in the real world of just him beating
Yeah.
down criminals because that's super cool.
That would have been an interesting way to do the story if like the first 6 episodes
Yeah.
are him getting like to the point where like he even like takes on the Yakuza or something like that.
Yeah, that would
And then
be
like
awesome.
he dies. And then he's like in the other world. He's
Kind
like,
of
well,
becomes like a Breaking Bad story.
Yeah.
He's just like going up and like defeating crime and
what did he
whatever.
call himself? He called himself the stylish ruffian slayer.
Slayer. Yeah.
That's, I don't know. I
It
want to
was,
watch more of that show. It's
yeah.
super good.
It was really it was fun. It was funny too. Like
Yeah.
the main character seems really cool. It was interesting. The first episode followed the damsel in distress basically.
Yeah, that was
instead of
interesting.
The hero, which is kind of cool. So
Well, it's going off of like the show's called Eminence and Shadow.
mhm.
What's Eminence and Shadow is basically that character that is the most it's more powerful than the main character, but he's not the main character. He like,
Yeah.
trains the main character to be
Yeah.
powerful, and he wants to be the Eminence and Shadow. So it's kind of cool that they took the damsel in distress, which is supposed to be like the most not powerful, but popular and famous girl
Yeah.
class, where she's like the main character,
Mhm.
and he's just the guy in the background that saves
Yeah,
her.
that is really cool.
So that was cool how they did that story.
Yeah, he has an interesting goal because it's like, if I become the main like bad guy, I'm gonna get defeated. If I become the main good guy, I'm gonna have like people after me and
Right.
stuff. So I'm gonna be this like in the background
Yeah.
manipulating stuff from the shadows kind
That
of
is cool.
person.
It gives me Steins Gate vibes.
Yeah, it kind
Where
of
it's
gave
like
me
the-
Code Geass vibes.
Oh, okay. Yep, that's cool. I could see that.
The main character being kind of like has a screw loose and is
Yeah.
a little like overly.
I like the
It is.
usage of English in it,
Those are
where
really
he's
fun.
like, "I need more
More
power."
The voice actor did great with him. He's
It's
he's
so good.
funny.
I like how he deepens his voice too. I don't know if he's older. He's supposed to be older in the isekai world, the fantasy world, because it does seem like
Yeah.
he's been there for a while. Obviously, he has his
Yeah.
little harem and stuff.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm really interested in the second episode because I feel like the show could also go really downhill if it sucks. Like once he gets into
for
the
sure.
isekai world. But the first episode was great, just him beating down the guy, and then the ending was great because it begins with the one girl, and it has kind of a weird opening because it's just her like going through her day, which is kind of a weird, like they could have cut all that out and started with just her walking into the school, but it starts out with her like going through her day, going to school, and then meeting the kid who is the main like the real main character. And he's always feels like distant, and she's like popular with everyone, but he can't even remember her name.
Well, if you notice, he mentioned something about like, "Oh yeah, you're that NPC that's named."
Yeah,
Just like he thinks of himself so highly, but everybody else around him must be like a nobody to him, which is interesting to think about.
So he's really weird. And then they go throughout their day, and then she gets kidnapped. And then she's about to get raped, and he comes in and just beats the crap out of the people that kidnapped her. And then she goes back to school the next day, and when she sees him, he was wearing a mask, so she didn't know it was him. And when she sees him, he calls her by her actual name. And then and she like realizes that he wears a mask just like she does, where he's like kind of fake on the outside. And then it goes to the end, and it's like local high schooler gets hit by a truck,
and that it's like the most mundane death as well. Because they say, and it's like local high schooler, and they say his name gets hit by a truck. Reports say truck driver was just not paying attention. It's like he wasn't saving anybody. He wasn't doing anything. He was probably walking down the road with his giant crowbar bag.
And then his ending thing is just like, if I'm powerful enough to defeat some thugs, that's fine. But then after that, am I powerful enough to take down like this group of soldiers? It's like, maybe if I was the greatest like champion in martial arts, I could. But what if a nuke got dropped on me?
I'm interested to see if he actually tries stopping a nuke.
I feel like he has to.
He's got to. They mentioned it twice.
One of the climax of the story of just like a nuke drops. It's like I've been prepared for this.
This is my life's destiny.
He's kind of like a Batman that wants to rule the world. Like he's definitely has Batman vibes of like, I have to defeat crime, but also like I'm gonna defeat crime so I can take over the world.
The whole like footsteps while he's like breaking into the warehouse where the thugs are, where the girl's being held, like the footsteps walking up to it, and then him just like crashing through the sky, like just it felt like a Batman.
It was really cool, and I hope they keep stuff like that in the fantasy world too. I hope they don't just do big dumb magic battles, because that I hope suck.
Not. I mean, he seemed kind of happy about magic, but at the same time, like he pulled out a crowbar. He has a crowbar in the fantasy world. Yeah,
it depends what kind of magic system it is. If it's just kind of like stand back and blast magic rays or whatever, it's going to kind of suck. But if the magic ties into the battle somehow, that would be cool.
Kind of like, I guess it's Overlord, where they have like some magic users use it to like enhance their melee.
Kind of like Hunter x Hunter is kind of like that. It's like your aura. So you're like, you can have these ridiculous powers, but a lot of people are just like, I use it to increase punch into my fist or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And so it makes them stronger. which is cool because then it's equally as viable to be someone who has a weird ability where you touch someone and it drains their points or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Or just be a dude that's like, I punch really hard because I use my aura well.
And at the same time, they can still have magic users where it's like, I shoot beams out of my hands. And of course, they're going to have like a slight advantage over the people that like use like magic to enhance their physical abilities and stuff. So that'll be interesting to see.
So hopefully they have a system like that, because that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Or even if it just like, more enhances them, or less stay back and fight kind of thing would be cool. And then of course he has this massive harem of animal girls that are fighting alongside of him, I guess.
There's like 20 of them.
There's like 20 of them.
Like they show, so at the end scene, they're all standing on a roof and they're all in this like, the costumes totally remind me of Code Geass.
Yeah.
Those are Code Geass costumes.
Yeah.
Like the black and like the capes and stuff. But like there's like 10 of them on the roof and they all say a line like a regular harem.
Yeah.
But then like one of them mentions like, we're all waiting for your command, and it shows more in the streets. I'm just like, what the frick?
This guy's got this whole
Does he own every single cat girl in the nation or something? Like
he's got this whole like op group thing of just like people stalking everyone. Yeah, he's got like shield in this world. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm really excited. I want to see the next episode, see where it goes.
Yeah, if it gets,
from what I saw online, there was like a review thing of like review the latest episode of these animes, and Eminence and Shadow's latest had the same many stars. It was like 4.5 stars out of 5.
Chainsaw Man?
As or no, it was like 4.2 or something, as Mob Psycho.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So hopefully it's still good.
It reminds me, it could be one of those generic isekais.
Yeah.
It could easily turn towards that, where the girls are all there for comedy and romance, and the main character's like basically a blumbering idiot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the way they had him do monologues and the way they had him thinking, he's gotta be like a Code Geass type.
Yeah. The amount of thought,
gotta have like a mastermind level.
Yeah. The amount of thought put into that first like fight makes me feel like it's gonna be a good show.
Yeah, I hope so. So I'm excited to watch it. I have that to watch. I have Reincarnated as a Sword, Spy Family, Chainsaw. Is there another one? Chainsaw. I think that's it. That's all I'm watching this season so far. But yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, Spy Family's been really good. It's got some good moments. I feel like the first half might be better just because you're not used to it. It's new and it's like everything's more interesting. But they definitely add like stuff with the dog, and then it kind of settles into it's like, here's Anya's day of what she's doing, here's Lloyd's day of what he's doing, and kind of going through different stuff. And
that's cool.
A lot of comedy. It feels more comedy focused, I guess, in the second half than the first season. I felt like there was more missions and stuff going on, and here it feels more just like comedy, where there's a whole episode of just Yor trying to figure out how to cook and stuff like that.
That's cool. Yeah.
So there's some really great lines though, where Anya, there's like this big spy thing, and Anya's finding out this building's gonna blow up at this certain time, and she looks up at the clock and is like, I don't know how to read time. And then like
that scene was a great
ask an old man, and then he's like, oh, it's gonna be like this, so 30 minutes. And it's like, oh no, 30 minutes. How long's 30 minutes?
And then once the old man walks away, she's talking to the dog, and then she looks back at the clock. She's like, oh no, 7 minutes have already passed. Do I have like 2 minutes left? Like, I don't know what's going on.
It's so great.
She has like no concept of time because she's like 3 years old or something.
Yeah.
Or what is she? She's like 6.
She's like 6. Yeah. 6 or 7 or something like that. She's really young.
Oh, yeah. It's cool. I like how they really treat her as a child.
Yeah.
She's not like a supreme genius telepath.
Yeah.
She's just like a kid.
She's actually really dumb.
Yeah,
too.
she is.
That's like part of her character, which is really funny. And just like her thoughts of how things are going to work out, where she's like, she gets the dog, and then it's like, I'm gonna tell Damien that I have a dog, and then he's gonna want to come over, and then Dad can like do the mission and everything. And she's like, I have a dog. He's like, cool, and walks away.
Yeah.
She's like, oh no.
Yeah, it's great. So far this season of anime has been good.
It has been good.
I haven't really heard of any that are just absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple that aren't like as good. Like there's a couple generic isekais and stuff, but yeah, so far it's all pretty
Blue Lock's been fine. It feels like it's been hyped up more than it's actually good.
Okay.
Because people have been talking about it a lot. They're like, oh, this sports anime is great.
Right.
And I don't know. I guess if you're into sports animes, you'll like it. It's got some interesting stuff going on, but I don't think it's the best thing ever. It's just kind of fine.
Gotcha.
I gotta watch more of it, see how it goes. But the intro felt really forced, and it was just like, we're gonna get everyone together and then play soccer death battle thing. Except if you lose, you don't get to be on the national team of Japan or whatever, which is already like, it feels really bizarre of like, we're going to play this game, and if you lose, you can't be a professional NFL player. It's like, oh, okay. You probably weren't going to be either way. So it's pretty interesting, but the characters are a little over the top. And other than that, it's got some interesting like mind games and stuff that's kind of going into it, and the players trying to figure out some of the stuff. It feels a little bit forced and weird in some areas.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem I have with sports anime, is the premise of them wanting to be the best at a sport. It makes sense because that's what every team strives for. But in anime, it always seems so overdrawn and blown. Where like, especially in Haikyuu, I always felt like it's just like, really? Your life isn't going to end if you lose this one match. Like on average, the average team loses like at least a quarter of their matches.
And I really like the matches in Haikyuu. Like they're really interesting. Yeah. They're like setting it up and trying to like figure out the strategies and stuff. But there's definitely moments where they're just like, this is my dream. And it's like, okay, calm down.
Calm down, buddy. You're all good.
Yeah. And so in this show it's kind of got that like weird edgy thing where like some of the characters are like really creepy looking, or like there's a monster inside of me, and that's why I hit to the goal instead of passed it to my teammates or whatever. And just weird stuff like that. And then them trying to figure out how to play soccer. It's also funny because the main like guy that's setting this all up, he's like saying these different soccer players that like some of the things that they said, they're like professional soccer players, because this is specifically, they're trying to find a good striker who's like the main person that scores goals and stuff. And a lot of the strikers are like very prideful, like I just do this for myself because I like scoring goals instead of being like a team worker. So he's trying to make someone like that. And in the comments, it was funny because people that actually care about soccer were talking like, yeah, all those people he mentioned, they've never won the World Cup. Also, the team that's the best in the world right now has no number one striker. It's just like an overall good team.
That's great.
So it's kind of like the lesson here that the like the main guy that you're supposed to think is like smart or whatever isn't smart.
Right.
So it just kind of deflates it some because of that. And it feels weird, like what it's trying to get across or what's trying to like, they're trying to teach the kids to do. It just feels more story than like a real thing that could happen.
Yeah. And that's how I feel like the flaw with most sports anime is the story really has to be contrived. I think that's the right word for it.
Yeah.
It really has to be made up to be interesting. Like most real life anime, or not anime, most real life sports, besides for like high adrenaline and stuff, the actual playing the sport isn't it's not the highlight of it.
Yeah.
Almost like they spend more time training than they actually do playing the sport.
Yeah, so that is more of the thing.
Yeah.
And in anime, it's interesting because they can like get right into like each individual, like I'm moving this way for this reason. And then it's like this whole like chess game thing that you're watching, which is
where in real life, like when you're playing soccer, you're like, Oh, I had the ball between my feet. My guy was open. I was trying to pass it to him.
And Hunter x Hunter does that. There is actually a sports like things that they play sometimes, but Hunter x Hunter does that absurd where it's just like, I'm gonna turn this way because of this and do this, and this is the reason behind it.
Right.
And so sports anime can kind of do that too, where they'll sacrifice some of the action of the sport for the I feel like you have to have a mix of both, of sometimes like this is why I'm doing this thing to try to defeat their defense or whatever, while also not being like, I will turn left and then take 2 steps to the side because this is the optimal place where they'll set it to me or whatever.
Right.
So, yeah.
I don't know. I have nothing against sports anime, but also at the same time that they don't excite me.
Yeah.
Like, I love playing sports. Like, volleyball is actually one of my favorite sports to play, but like, watching Haikyuu, besides for those scenes where they're actually in the game itself, it seems pretty boring.
Yeah.
So,
and that makes sense. I feel like I need to watch.
Like Blue Lock would be the same.
Probably. Blue Lock might be a little more interesting to you because of some of the games are more like they're playing tag or whatever with the volleyball. So it's not always just like playing the sport, but it definitely has the everyone takes the sport way too seriously, and is like having a breakdown or like giving people death glares and whatever because they got out, and it's like, okay, calm down. It's just a game. Obviously you lost. Like, I don't know, it feels like the way anime interprets being a sports star is like you have this insane edgy attitude, which some people in sports do, but it feels like the really good sports players in general have a pretty decent attitude about it, because that's how they got good in the first place. Is they actually trained and recognized they weren't the best and then got better at it. Right. So a lot of sports stars are actually like decently humble. Like even if they're not super humble and think they're really good, it's like they can still have that attitude, but also not be like a total jerk about like everything. You know, if you lose and you're in sports, it usually humbles you instead of being like, I'll get you for this or whatever, which is like the vibe that they have. And it's like,
it's like, there's rivalries in sports, but it's nothing like, I'm gonna hit you for the rest of my life and curse on your family and curse on your cow. So
and it's like, how dare you do this to me? It's like, okay.
But so far I don't know, I might check it out, but it'll probably be a long time from now.
I'll try to finish it, but it's not. I'm probably gonna make a few reviews on seasonal anime, so that's probably why I'll watch it.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yep.
Well, I guess after that, we talked plenty. We've done up our hour, so I think we're done for the day.
Woo!
Yeah, thank you, Employee of the Month, for joining me.
Yay!
Also, this is your notice to everybody that didn't join us. You're all fired.
Yay! Oh no, I have to do this all by myself again.
Wait a second. Yeah, that's not a good idea. No, you guys can come. Never mind. I was joking. You're not fired.
Your pay is cut in half now.
Yes, you get double nothing.
Yeah.
Wait, not double.
Yeah, half of nothing.
Half of nothing.
I get double nothing.
You get double.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you all for listening. If you want to share the podcast with your friends, that would be great. You can also like the podcast, review it on Spotify, iTunes. You can leave a comment on YouTube. And besides for that, if you're already here, you already know where the podcast is. You can always check out the YouTube channel, which is Talk Baka. There we do some other things like playthroughs and eventually some other things. Hey, Weez, where can I find you?
I'm KBW on YouTube. If you search KBW anime, you'll find me and the video that we talked about earlier.
Which is awesome. You should go watch it right now. No, not right now. Wait exactly about a minute and then you can watch it.
Yeah, you got to finish our intro thing. Yes. Also, KBW author at KBW author on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me there, and then there'll be links to my YouTube if you can't find my YouTube.
Nice. Oh yeah, that reminds me, the podcast itself is also on Twitter at Talk Baka, and you can also email us with ideas, suggestions, and just random stuff through askbakatalk@gmail.com.
Yep.
All right, Weez. Usually there's a lot more people, so it's more entertaining, but say bye.
Jam meow.
See you all later.